Ladies and gentlemen, life has a peculiar way of unfolding. What you cling to today may slip through your fingers tomorrow. What you fear losing might be making space for something greater. Many times we suffer not because life is cruel, but because we refuse to see the intelligence behind its design. You see, when something leaves your life, a job, a relationship, an opportunity, you feel abandoned, betrayed, or defeated. But have you ever considered that maybe, just maybe, something better is on its way? Maybe what you lost was not meant for you anymore. Maybe it had served its purpose, and now something more aligned with your growth is coming to take its place. The problem is, we resist this process. We hold on, we cry over closed doors without realizing that a new one has already opened. We mourn over the past, while the future is waiting at the doorstep knocking. But let me tell you, if something is being taken from you, it is because something else is meant to enter. And whether you see it or not, whether you accept it or not, life will keep replacing things for you until you align with your true path. So stop resisting, stop questioning why something is gone. Instead, ask yourself, what is life making space for? What new possibility is emerging? Because God never takes without giving. He never removes without replacing. And when He does, trust that the replacement is always better, always wiser, always meant for you. Let go, step forward, and embrace what's coming. Because when you stop clinging to the past, you finally free your hands to receive the future. Life is an unfolding mystery, a process far beyond our individual control. Yet, we often find ourselves gripping tightly onto things, people, and circumstances as if they are permanent fixtures in our journey. But nothing in life is permanent. Everything, our relationships, our possessions, our status, even our own bodies, flows like a river, constantly shifting, evolving, and transforming. And yet, when something leaves us, we experience an overwhelming sense of loss, as though a part of us has been taken away. Loss is not the end, but a transition. The trouble is, we don't always see it that way. We tend to mourn the closing of one chapter without realizing that another has already begun. When we lose something, a job, a relationship, an opportunity, or even a loved one, our first instinct is to resist. We question, we fight, we grieve, and we ask, why me? We feel as if life has been unfair, as if we have been wronged. But have we ever paused to consider that perhaps life is not punishing us but preparing us? Perhaps what we see as an ending is actually the necessary clearing of space for something greater. There is an intelligence within life far beyond our limited understanding. The seasons change without our permission. The tides rise and fall without consulting us. The sun rises every morning, not because we will it, but because it is the way of nature. Just as we do not dictate the movement of the cosmos, we do not control the flow of our own lives. And when life takes something away, it is not an accident. It is not a mistake. It is an invitation to evolve. Imagine a tree in autumn. Its leaves begin to fall one by one. To an outsider who does not understand the cycle of nature, it may seem like the tree is dying, that it is losing its beauty, that it is becoming empty. But those who understand nature know better. They know that the tree is not dying, it is preparing. It is shedding the old to make way for the new. It is making space for the fresh green leaves of spring. This is exactly how life works. When something is taken from you, it is because it no longer serves you. When you experience loss, it is because you are being prepared for renewal. The problem is, we are so attached to what is familiar, so afraid of change, that we fail to see the gift hidden in the loss. We keep looking back at the fallen leaves, mourning what was, instead of embracing what is to come. Look at your own life. Think about the times when you felt lost, broken, or abandoned. Perhaps you lost a job that you thought you could not live without. Perhaps someone you deeply loved walked away from you, leaving you shattered. In those moments, it felt like the end. It felt like life had taken something irreplaceable from you. But now, looking back, don't you see how that loss led you to something else? Maybe it pushed you towards a new career, a new passion, a new understanding of yourself. Maybe it led you to the person you were truly meant to be with. Maybe it forced you to grow in ways you never would have if you had stayed where you were. This is the truth. God never takes without giving. Life never removes without replacing. When one door closes, another is already opening. The problem is, we spend so much time crying at the closed door that we don't see the one standing wide open before us. We hold on to our past as if it defines us. But the past is gone. It has served its purpose. The only reason it still causes you pain is because you refuse to let it go. Imagine you are holding a rock in your hand, gripping it tightly. This rock represents everything you are afraid to lose. Your relationships, your possessions, your identity. Now imagine that life is trying to place something new in your hand, something more beautiful, something more aligned with your growth. But because your fist is closed so tightly around the old, you cannot receive the new. Only when you let go can your hand be open to receive what is waiting for you. This is how life works. It is always sending you replacements. It is always guiding you towards something greater. But you must be willing to trust the process. You must be willing to surrender. You must understand that loss is not punishment but preparation. It is a transition from what no longer serves you to what is meant for you. But here is the challenge. When we are in the midst of loss, it does not feel like a blessing. It feels like suffering. It feels like injustice. It feels like a deep aching wound that may never heal. But just because you cannot see the bigger picture now does not mean it does not exist. Just because you do not yet understand the reason behind the loss does not mean there is no reason. If a caterpillar were to resist the cocoon, it would never become a butterfly. If the seed refused to break open, it would never grow into a tree. Transformation requires surrender. So the next time life takes something away from you, do not panic, do not cling, do not beg for it to stay. Instead, take a deep breath and say, thank you. Thank life for making space. Thank God for sending the replacement. Even if you do not yet see what it is, trust that it is coming. Trust that it is always on its way. Because the truth is, nothing real is ever lost. What is meant for you will always find you. What is taken was never truly yours to keep, and what is coming is greater than anything you have left behind. So let go, step forward, and embrace the beauty of transition. Because loss is not the end, it is simply the beginning of something new. One of the greatest sources of human suffering is our resistance to change. When life takes something away, we struggle, we protest, we question, and we hold on tightly to what is slipping through our fingers. But in doing so, we only increase our pain. The reality is that change is the very nature of existence. Nothing remains the same forever. Seasons shift, rivers flow, the sun rises and sets, and we too are meant to evolve. When we resist what life is trying to remove, we trap ourselves in unnecessary suffering. We cling to old relationships that drain us, jobs that drain us, or identities that we have outgrown. But no amount of holding on can prevent the inevitable. The tighter we grip, the more painful the transition becomes. True peace comes when we learn to surrender, to trust that when something leaves, it is because something better is on its way. Instead of fearing change, embrace it. Instead of mourning what is gone, celebrate the new space it has created. The universe is always working in your favor, but it requires your willingness to flow with it. When you stop resisting, you allow life to unfold in ways more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. Nothing in life is lost without purpose. When something is removed from your life, it is not an act of punishment, but an act of divine alignment. We often see loss as a cruel twist of fate, but in reality, it is a necessary clearing of space for something better. The challenge is that we don't always see the replacement immediately. We grieve over what is gone without realizing that something greater is already on its way. Think about moments in your life when you lost something or someone. At that time, it may have felt like the end of the road, but looking back, don't you see how it led you to something even more meaningful? Perhaps you lost a job only to find a new career that was more fulfilling. Maybe a relationship ended, making way for a deeper and truer connection. The divine intelligence behind life ensures that nothing is ever truly taken away. It is only exchanged for something that aligns better with your journey. Trust that when one door closes, another is already open. Even if you cannot see it now, have faith that God's replacement is always for your highest good. Life is not a straight road. It is a winding path filled with unexpected turns, sudden stops, and surprising new directions. Yet we humans have a tendency to believe that we must always be in control. We plan, we predict, we build expectations, and when things do not go the way we imagined, we struggle, we resist, we cry out, asking why life is being unfair to us. But have you ever considered that maybe, just maybe, life knows what it's doing? We live in a universe far beyond our understanding. The sun rises every morning without our help. The rivers find their way to the ocean without getting lost. A seed buried in darkness knows how to push through the soil and reach the light. There is an intelligence behind all of this, a force that everything happens in perfect timing, and yet, when things do not go the way we want, we doubt, we lose faith. We believe that life is working against us, when in reality, it is always working for us. The biggest mistake we make is believing that we must always understand why something is happening. We want reasons, we want explanations, we want to see the full picture before we take a single step forward. But life does not work that way. Life requires trust. Life requires surrender. When something is taken away, we do not always get to see what is coming next, but we must believe that something better is on its way. Think about the moments in your life when you lost something dear to you. At the time, it felt painful, it felt unfair. Maybe you lost a job you thought you would retire from. Maybe someone you loved deeply walked away. Maybe a plan you had worked so hard for suddenly fell apart. In those moments, it felt like life was crumbling. But now, looking back, don't you see that those moments were not the end? Don't you see that life had something better in store for you? We often hear the phrase, "Everything happens for a reason." But the truth is, the reason does not always reveal itself immediately. Sometimes you must walk through the uncertainty before you see why things had to happen the way they did. This is why trust is so important. If you only believe in life's plan when things are going well, then you do not truly believe. Real trust means having faith even in the darkness. Real trust means knowing that even when you lose something, it is only making space for what is truly meant for you. Imagine a child who wants to hold on to a broken toy. The parent knows that the toy is damaged beyond repair and wants to take it away to give the child a brand, but the child does not understand. The child only sees that their favorite toy is being taken away. And so they cry, they resist, they beg to keep it. The parent, however, knows something the child does not. The replacement is far better than what they are losing. This is exactly what happens in our lives. We hold on to things that are broken, relationships that no longer serve us, dreams that are too small for who we are meant to become. And when life tries to take them away, we resist, we cling, we mourn. But what we do not realize is that life, just like that loving parent, is not trying to hurt us. It is trying to give us something better. But here's the challenge. Most of the time, the new thing does not appear immediately. There is always a gap between what is lost and what is coming. And it is in this space of uncertainty that most people lose faith. They assume that because they cannot see what's next, nothing is coming. They allow fear to take over. They become bitter, resentful, and stuck in their pain. But those who truly trust the process do not fall into this trap. They know that just because they cannot see the next step does not mean it is not there. Trusting the process means believing that even when you are in the middle of loss, life is still working for you. It means understanding that what is taken away is not a punishment but preparation. It means knowing that when one door closes, another is already open. You just have to walk towards it. Look at the world around you. Every great transformation happens through uncertainty. The caterpillar does not know it is becoming a butterfly when it is wrapped in the darkness of the cocoon. The seed does not know it is becoming a tree when it is buried in the soil. The night does not know it is giving way to the sunrise when the sky is at its darkest. But in every case, something greater is on the way. The same is true for you. There will be moments when life feels uncertain, moments when you do not know what is next, moments when all you can see is what you have lost, and nothing about the future seems clear. But those are the moments when trust matters the most. If you can keep your heart open, if you can resist the urge to fall into fear, if you can simply surrender and allow life to unfold, you will see that everything is happening exactly as it should. We often think that trust means having all the answers, but real trust means being at peace even when you have none. It means waking up each morning and saying, I don't know what today will bring, but I trust that whatever happens is leading me where I need to be. It means letting go of control and allowing life to work its magic. So I ask you today, what are you holding on to that you need to release? What loss are you mourning that might actually be a blessing in disguise? What closed door are you staring at so intensely that you cannot see the new one that is wide open for you? Let go. Stop resisting. Trust that you are being guided. Trust that even when something is taken from you, life is sending you something better. You may not see it yet, but that does not mean it is not on its way. Have faith. Keep walking forward, because when you truly trust the process, you realize that nothing is ever lost. Everything is simply being rearranged for your highest good. There is a deep fear that exists within every human being, the fear of letting go. We cling to things, to people, to ideas, and even to pain, believing that what we have now is all there is. We hold on so tightly, fearing that if we release our grip, we will be left with nothing. But have you ever considered that maybe, just maybe, the very thing you are holding on to is what is preventing you from receiving what is truly meant for you? Life is always moving. It is a current, a flow, a process of continuous change. Look at nature. Nothing in it is stagnant. The river does not hold on to the water that flows through it. The trees do not refuse to shed their leaves when the season changes. The sky does not resist the transition from day to night. Everything surrenders, everything allows, everything embraces the new. But we as human beings resist. We fear change, and in our fear we create suffering. Think about the times in your life when you knew deep down that something had run its course, yet you still held on. Maybe it was a relationship that no longer brought you joy, but you stayed because the idea of being alone scared you. Maybe it was a job that drained you, but you kept showing up because you feared uncertainty. Maybe it was an identity you built around yourself that no longer matched who you truly are, but you were afraid of what people would say if you changed. In every case, the fear of letting go kept you stuck. But here is the truth. Nothing that is truly meant for you will ever leave. And if something is leaving, it is because it has served its purpose in your life. Holding on to what is no longer meant for you is like trying to carry a bag of stones up a mountain. The higher you try to climb, the heavier it becomes. You struggle, you suffer, and yet you refuse to set it down. But the moment you let it go, the moment you release that weight, you suddenly feel light. You suddenly have the freedom to move forward without pain. We often think that letting go means losing, but in reality, letting go is gaining. It is creating space for something new, something better, something that aligns with the person you are becoming. The problem is that we cannot see what is ahead while we are still clinging to what is behind us. Imagine you are holding on to a rope that is burning your hands, but you refuse to let go because you fear falling. You endure the pain, you endure the suffering, not realizing that the moment you release it, relief will come. Letting go is not easy. It requires trust. It requires faith in the unknown. It requires you to believe that life is not against you, but for you. Most people stay stuck in situations that no longer serve them because they do not trust that something better is on the way. They settle for less because they fear that there is no more. But if you only knew how much life has in store for you, you would never hold on to anything that is not meant for you. Think about the times when you were forced to let go, whether you wanted to or not. Maybe someone walked away from you. Maybe an opportunity slipped through your fingers. Maybe you were faced with a loss that you thought you would never recover from. At the time, it felt like the end. It felt like you were being robbed of something valuable. But now, looking back, don't you see that what left made space for something new? Don't you see that if you had not let go, you would not have received what came next? The mistake we make is believing that what we had was the best it could get. But life does not work that way. It is always evolving, always offering new experiences, new lessons, new blessings. The only thing that stops us from receiving them is our own unwillingness to let go of the old. The longer we hold on to what no longer serves us, the more we delay what is truly meant for us. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending something never mattered. It simply means accepting that its time in your life has passed. It means being grateful for what was, but making peace with what is. It means trusting that what is coming is far greater than what has gone. Imagine a butterfly trying to stay inside its cocoon. It has grown wings. It has outgrown its shell. But out of fear, it refuses to break free. It stays confined, trapped in a space too small for what it has become. But the moment it surrenders, the moment it allows itself to emerge, it realizes that it was never meant to crawl. It was meant to fly. This is what happens when we let go. We stop limiting ourselves to what is familiar and allow ourselves to step into what is possible. We stop trying to force things to stay the same and allow life to unfold as it is meant to. We stop living in fear and start living in trust. Letting go is not weakness, it is strength. It takes courage to release what is comfortable in order to make space for the unknown. It takes wisdom to recognize when something has served its purpose. It takes faith to believe that what is ahead is greater than what is behind. So I ask you, what are you still holding on to that is keeping you from moving forward? What are you afraid to release even though you know it is no longer meant for you? What are you clinging to out of fear rather than trust? It is time to release it. It is time to surrender. It is time to embrace the new. Because the truth is, life is not trying to take anything from you, it is trying to give you something better. But you must be willing to receive it. And to receive it, you must first let go of what no longer belongs to you. So take a deep breath, trust the process, let go, and step forward into the new life that is waiting for you. Life is not something to be controlled, nor is it something to be feared. It is a flow, an ever-moving current, a process of continuous transformation. Everything you lose is not truly lost, it is only making way for something greater. Every ending is not a punishment. It is a transition to a new beginning. The only thing that determines how you experience this journey is your willingness to trust. When something is removed from your life, do not fight it. Do not resist. Do not waste your energy mourning what was. Instead, stand in faith, knowing that whatever is leaving is not meant to stay. Trust that what is coming is more aligned with who you are becoming. Believe that life is not against you, but for you. Even when you do not understand, even when the path ahead is unclear, even when it feels like everything is falling apart, have faith, because what feels like an ending is often just the beginning of something far more beautiful. Let go. Embrace the new. Trust that you are being guided towards something far greater than you can imagine. And when the replacement arrives, you will look back and realize that everything happened exactly as it was meant to. You will understand that nothing was ever truly lost. Everything was simply rearranged for your highest good. So walk forward with courage, with trust, and with an open heart, because God is sending you a replacement, and what is coming will be far greater than what has gone.